a really big piece of advice I can give is find someone who complements your personality so that you can each strengthen each other's weaknesses. And what I mean by that is I can actually use my co-owner as an example. I didn't hire her, she did not hire me. We are equals, but we're still a really good example of this. So, my co-owner Toy is very cool-headed and collected, and she's really good at thinking before she speaks. And I am not any of those things. I tend to be an impulsive hothead, which is good for keeping the team driven and motivated, but I also I'm just impulsive and I don't usually think things through all the way, but she does. So we complement each other really well, and that's why we've worked so well together. We're a really powerful duo, I feel like, because wherever I'm weak, she's stronger, and vice versa. This is kind of a silly analogy, but running a team, it can be very chaotic. It's almost like driving on the freeway without a brake pedal, and I am the gas pedal, and my co-owner is the steering wheel. So that's how we work together and keep things from crashing or catching fire. So that's one piece of advice for hiring high ranks is find someone who complements your personality and the personalities of whoever else you already have on the staff team. And then another piece of advice for it is look for someone who can balance passion with taking instruction. And what I mean by that is someone who has a lot of passion and they want to do a lot of things, but they don't really want to submit to instruction or take feedback. They're going to end up doing too much. They're going to try to take control of things that they're not really supposed to be in charge of. And they don't take feedback to heart. And even though they have so much energy, it gets misdirected to tasks that aren't really as important. And then somebody who does listen to instruction really well, but they don't have a lot of passion and they don't want to do very much, they burn out quickly. They'll never get tasks done. They never take initiative. It's like you have to push them every step of the way. So it's important to find someone who has a good balance between those so that their energy to do things and get projects done, it's powerful but still directable, so that way your staff team is at its most productive. And that's basically all I have to offer for advice for hiring high ranks.
That was a really good analogy of like the gas pedal and the steering wheel. I really like that. Okay. The next question is how do you handle testing or like rank ups? Like how do you really organize the ranks in RRD?
So our way might be a little unconventional, sorry. But it works for us. Might not work for others, but it works for us. So we used to have a testing system once upon a time. That was back when I first joined RRD. Actually, no, that was actually before the testing system. Okay. When I first joined RRD, we had a lesson system and there wasn't really a test. It's just you had to take so-and-so lessons and learn specific moves to rank up all the way. And it was honestly pretty bland and ineffective. It did not really serve the team well, and a lot of the concepts taught in these lessons were never actually used in our competitive routines, so it felt pointless. And it was also very slow to rank up because you have to have an instructor hosting the lesson, and then they have to verify that you went to the lesson and you passed, and then you have to wait for them to rank you up, and it was just really clunky. So when my co-owner and I took over the team, we decided to change it. So we developed a newer curriculum, and that's when we established a test. And it was better, but it still didn't work out. The curriculum was definitely more efficient for what we actually did as a team, which was competitions, but it was still pointless, and it often was frustrating for new members who had to go through and learn stuff that they already knew well. And the testing system was honestly a bit of a nightmare for everyone involved. It gave the writers so much anxiety to have to take the test in the first place, and the instructors who had to host it and then grade it, it was so tedious and it took so much time. So about 8 months ago, we ultimately decided to abolish the testing system and the whole curriculum altogether. So RRD no longer does a lesson system. Instead, our members learn off of experience, and nobody has complained since. So we think it works pretty well for us. And I can say that I have learned more from my first ever competition that I wrote in than any like group of lessons or curriculum that I went through. And I think that goes for a lot of my members as well. I watched them improve so much and gain so many dressage skills just from participating in competitions and just going to any practice rather than a rigid lesson system. So for ranking up, that's how you rank up, is by going to practices and participating in competitions. You rank up by experience, you learn by experience. That's what works for our team. Might not work for everybody else, but that's how we do it.
That's really cool. I like that system. I feel like it's a lot more efficient, and the goal of your team is to compete, obviously, and that's like it's a solid way to start competing and make sure everybody gets that experience. Okay. How should my club's or team's ranking system be organized if we want to teach from beginner all the way up to elite?
So I touched on this a little bit in the last question. So we rank up based on experience, and that's what works for us. So what we typically do is we have cadets, guardsmen, and kingsmen. So to rank up from cadets to guardsmen, you have to go to a certain number of dressage practices. It doesn't matter what topics they're covering, you just need to go to dressage, because as you go to dressage and do any type of dressage, you are learning and gaining experience, and you're developing an intuition for how to work with screen delay. And then to rank up from guardsman to kingsman, you have to participate in your first competition with us, and that's where the real learning begins. I feel like, I don't know, it's just astounding to see the difference in my writers before and after their first competition. They're just so much more sure of themselves, and then as they participate in more and more competitions, you just see them grow from a beginner into an elite writer over a year, and it's really cool to see. So that's how we rank up. There is no lesson system, it's just experience. And sometimes our newer members will get thrown right into a competition if they're feeling enthusiastic. And so far they've really liked it that way. The ones who do it would not have it any other way. We've asked the team for feedback. Like, is it okay for us to throw you into a competition as soon as you join the team, or is it too much? Is it overwhelming? Everybody has said that they like it because it gives them something to do rather than having to go through a slow rank up process before they're allowed to compete. So, I mean, if it works for our members, then we're happy.
For sure, that sounds amazing. Okay, so the next question is how did you guys start competing, and how would you recommend a club or a team to like really start competing?
So I actually had to go and ask our founder this question because I did not start this team. So what she said was, well, when RRD first came to be, teams were not a thing. Nobody had like competitions for teams. And so she went to some competition server. She doesn't remember what it was. It wasn't SSD, but she went to a server and she got special permission to participate in a really small competition. And so RRD went up against two other clubs, and we got last place, but it was our first competition, and she was so proud of the team. And that really is the important first step. You're not necessarily going to get fancy medals or get first place in your first competition. What matters is that you complete a routine from start to finish and you submit it in time so that you have something to be proud of. And that's how we got our start. And after that, my founder said that she just waited for SSD to recognize teams and allow teams to compete. And the rest is history. Now we compete with SSD for the most part. And it worked out. Now we have lots of teams to compete against. So we're not alone anymore.
Yeah, it's really grown. Like the team community has grown so much in the past like couple of years. It's super cool. Okay, I think this is the last question. So I'm losing motivation building my club or my team, and how do I keep growing it? How do I keep going? Because you guys have been such a big team for so long, and how did you guys keep going and get that motivation?
I really love this question. So, for me personally, because I've only owned the team with my co-owner for a year, but there are days when I feel like quitting. I think that's normal for everyone. So, what I do to maintain that motivation is I accept that it's not always going to be fun. There is work to running a team or a club. You have to do the work. You're not always going to be just sitting in call having fun doing dressage. There is behind the scenes necessities. And then on days when you feel like quitting, if you don't actually want to quit, you need to tell yourself that it's going to feel worth it again tomorrow. If you do want to quit, then that's your own personal decision. Some people grow out of this community, and that's normal and healthy. It happens to everyone eventually, I think. But like I said, if you're not ready to quit, then you have to make yourself believe that it's going to feel worth it again soon. And it does for me whenever my members have a big laugh in the call, or we complete a routine and we feel good about it, or whenever somebody sends me a long essay in my DMs about how much they love RRD and how they're thankful to be a part of this. That's the kind of stuff that is going to help you stay motivated as a team or club owner. And another piece of advice is don't overscope or get too ambitious too soon when you're starting out. I feel like a lot of people really want to focus on growing and making their team or club huge as soon as possible, and that's just not realistic, and you're going to burn out quickly if you do that. I think you should focus on maintaining what you already have. And what I mean by that is maybe you start out with 5 members, not very big, but that is a start. What you should be doing is strengthening the bond between those 5 members. You should be having fun, you should be hanging out, you should be building routines together. It's okay for your first routine to be small and short, as long as you build something together that you're proud of. Because as you grow emotionally attached, your members will want to stay. Otherwise, as you keep trying to bring in new members, other members are going to leave because they'll get bored because you're not actually doing stuff together. You're just focusing on growing and growing instead of nurturing what you currently have. So growth is important, but don't prioritize it too much over actually bonding the team. So that's my advice for motivation.
That's very motivating. Good motivation speech. Um,
Thank you.
okay, I think that's all the questions that I had. Now, if any of you guys have any questions, then you can just send them in the chat. And yeah.
The Wix site. I don't know. We need to update it. That's for sure. Um, I think I updated it last, and so thank you. I guess I don't know. I'm not a Wix expert. I kind of just figured out some things to make it look cute. Um, Definitely not the best, but we tried to make it look organized and professional and not too overwhelming. Um, but yeah, it needs to be updated. But thank you so much for the compliment.
Honestly, I have been trying to make the TDN like Wix site website. It's so annoying. It's like the most hard thing ever. I can't understand it.
Ooh, that is a really good question, Sherry. Okay, how have I continued to maintain my involvement in RRD? Um, Spite is one of them. And also just okay, so if I had not been made owner of RRD, I probably wouldn't still be here. It's not that I don't love this community and enjoy dressage, it's just I mean, you do have to grow out of things eventually. The reason I'm still here right now is because I made a promise to the founder, and she is my closest friend in real life, so there's just extra meaning behind it, because RRD was really important to her, so now it's important to me. And also, I have grown very attached to the actual members of RRD, and I know how much it means to them, so I don't want to just leave them now. I am intending to stay here for as long as I can. And yes, my parents absolutely judge me for still being a part of this silly little horse game. I mean, I feel like most people in this community can relate, but parents don't really get it, and that's okay. That's life. So, yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, I think my mom is getting sick of my pony game, but it's okay.
Mine too. I met Avery the summer of 2018 when I first started playing Star Stable, and she was the first to start teaching me dressage in the good old chat commanded way on our starters in the Moreland Arena. And she's just been my best friend ever since. And she started RD, and I did not join immediately because I had kind of taken a break from the community. Um, but yeah, here I am now. So, um, I have not been in very many. I've been in a few, like, I really have not done much, like, in clubs and teams that are actually on Discord. I Right before I joined RD, I was in a club that didn't know what SSD was and was not on Discord. I think they were called Shady Sharks. They were really nice. I was just in them temporarily because I wanted something to do. And then I was, for a very short time, in the Outlaws rodeo team, which is a drill team, not a dressage team, because I was really into drill. But then I had to leave when I became co-owner because I wanted to focus just on RRD. So yeah, it's mostly just been RRD for me.
Yeah, owning takes so much time. That's
It really does. I don't know how some people like own or are staff members in several teams at once, but hats off to them. That's crazy. Very dedicated, very energetic.
yeah. Whenever somebody says that they have like 3 practices in a row right after each other, I'm just like, oh,
I
I
know
cannot do that.
my co-owner Toy, right? She owns RD with me, and then she owns her own club, and both of us are so active. How does she do it? I don't know. I don't know. She just does it magically. It's incredible. So, oh, she's already in college. Yes, adrenaline and dedication. Yeah, no, Toy is in college. Yep, and she's still doing it. Thank goodness. I am so grateful to have her as my co-owner. I would not last a second in this position without her. Um, so, yeah. Shout out to Toy. I usually call her Toy and not Toilet to people outside of RD because I get less questions that way. My favorite routine right now is our TikTok tango routine, but that can't be released until results are out. So,
Ooh, I'm actually so excited for the results.
me too.
And I think with like all the blind judging stuff, I think that's gonna be so cool.
Yes.
All right. I think if no one has any more questions, then I think we'll be done there. But thank you so much for coming. This
Thank
was
you for having
amazing.
me.
Of course.
Thank
This was so
you.
exciting.
All right. Well,
Yay.
have a good night.
Thank
Thank
you.
you
Have
so
a good
much,
night.
Vesper. Bye, everyone.